The Conductor and the Silenced. A story of courage, redemption, and second chances. The violin case hadn't been opened in 17 years. Diana Roth stood in her hallway closet, surrounded by winter coats that smelled like mothballs and memories she'd buried deeper than any instrument. Her hands shook as she pulled the hard case from behind a box labeled Maya, baby clothes. The clasps were stiff, rusted with disuse. She opened it. Inside, nestled in faded velvet, was a Guarneri del Gesù, made in 1735, worth more than her car, her apartment, probably her entire life. Worth more than the 17 years she'd spent pretending she wasn't a thief. The wood was still beautiful, deep amber, glowing even in the dim closet light. She touched one string. The sound was dead, out of tune, neglected, like her. "Mom!" Diana nearly dropped the case. Maya stood in the doorway, 12 years old and too perceptive, adjusting her new hearing aids with the resigned frustration of someone learning to grieve in advance. "What is that?" Diana looked at her daughter, at the girl who had 6 months, maybe less, before the world went silent forever. "It's a violin," Diana said. "I used to play." "You never told me." "No, I didn't." Maya stepped closer, staring at the instrument with the kind of hunger only a child facing loss can feel. "Can you still play it?" Diana thought about the last time she'd held a violin. Thought about a practice room at Curtis Institute. About a girl named Leah standing outside that room crying. About walking away because it was easier than being brave. "I don't know," she said, "but I'm going to try." 3 weeks earlier, the audiologist's office smelled like antiseptic and crushed dreams. Dr. Helen Park adjusted her glasses and slid a chart across the desk. Colored lines descended like a falling stock market. Maya sat beside Diana, still wearing the oversized headphones from the hearing test, fingers twisting the edge of her jacket. She knew. Children always know before you tell them. "Ms. Roth, Maya's hearing loss is progressing faster than we initially anticipated." Dr. Park's voice was too gentle, the kind of gentle that precedes devastation. Diana felt her hands go cold. "How much faster?" Dr. Park glanced at Maya, then back at Diana. "Based on today's tests compared to last month's results, I'd estimate 6 months, perhaps less." The room tilted. 6 months. Maya would be deaf before she turned 13. Diana heard herself ask questions. Treatment, surgery, hearing aids. But Dr. Park's answers blurred together into a single terrible truth: autosclerosis. Hereditary, progressive, irreversible. Maya's tiny bones in her inner ear were hardening slowly, sealing off the world of sound. "The hearing aids will help for a while," Dr. Park was saying. "We'll increase the amplification as needed. But eventually, her daughter would live in silence." Diana looked at Maya. She was staring at her hands, shoulders rigid, trying so hard to be brave. 12 years old and already learning to grieve something she was losing in slow motion. "Maya, honey." Diana reached for her hand. She pulled away. "It's fine. I'm fine." But she wasn't fine. Neither of them was. In the car on the way home, Portland's gray October sky pressed down on them. Rain began to spatter the windshield. "Mom." "Yes, sweetheart." "Dr. Park said it was hereditary. Does that mean, did you have it? Do you have it?" Diana's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "No, my hearing is fine." "Then where did I get it?" The question Diana had been dreading. To answer it, she'd have to tell Maya about her father. She'd have to explain the choices she'd made. She'd have to reveal why she'd spent 17 years running from a past she could never outrun. "Sometimes these things just happen," Diana said finally. Maya turned back to the window. She didn't believe it. But she didn't push. When they got home to their small apartment in southeast Portland, Maya went straight to her room. Diana stood in the kitchen, staring at nothing, feeling the walls close in. 6 months. She walked to the hallway closet. That's when she found it. The violin case buried beneath everything she'd tried to forget. The next morning, Diana called the Portland Public Schools district office. "I'm looking for a violin teacher," she said. "For my daughter. She's 12. It's urgent." The woman on the phone, Ms. Patterson, the arts coordinator, sighed. "I'm afraid our music program is quite limited. Budget cuts. But let me see." Papers shuffled. "We do have one instructor who takes private students, Samuel Kim. He's actually one of our middle school orchestra teachers, used to play professionally with the Portland Symphony. Let me give you his number." Diana wrote it down with shaking hands. That evening, after Maya picked at her dinner and retreated to her room, Diana stood in the living room with the violin case on the coffee table. The instrument sat there like an accusation. She picked up her phone, dialed the number. It rang 4 times. She was about to hang up when a man's voice answered. "This is Samuel." "Hi, my name is Diana Roth. I got your number from the district office. I'm looking for violin lessons for my daughter, and possibly for myself." There was a pause. "How old is your daughter?" 12. "And you play?" "I used to, a long time ago." "How long?" 17 years. Another pause, longer this time. "That's quite a gap. What made you stop?" The question was innocent enough, but something in his tone made her hesitate, like he was asking something deeper. "Life got complicated," she said finally. "And now it's gotten more complicated, but in a way that requires music." She heard what might have been a smile in his voice. "That's cryptic." "It's true." "Where did you study?" he asked. Her throat tightened. "Curtis Institute, in Philadelphia." The silence that followed lasted several heartbeats too long. "Curtis?" he repeated. His voice had changed, gone flatter. "What years?" 2007 to 2008. "I didn't graduate." "I see." He was quiet for a moment. "Would you be willing to meet? I'd like to assess your skill level before we discuss lessons." "Of course. When tomorrow afternoon, say 4 o'clock, I teach at Bridgeview Middle School, but we can meet at my studio. It's attached to my house." He gave her an address in the Selwood neighborhood. "That works. Thank you." "Ms. Roth." He spoke just as she was about to hang up. "Yes." "Bring your instrument. I'd like to hear you play." Diana looked at the Guarneri sitting on her coffee table. "I'm not sure I can anymore." "Then bring it anyway." Samuel Kim's house was a small craftsman bungalow with a well-kept garden and a separate structure in the back. A sign hung above the door, SK Music Studio. Maya and Diana stood on the front porch the next afternoon. Diana held the violin case. Her palms were sweating. Before she could knock, the door opened. Samuel Kim was shorter than she'd imagined, from his voice maybe 5'7", with wire-rimmed glasses and graying hair pulled back in a small ponytail. He wore a cardigan that had seen better days and looked like every music teacher she'd ever had, slightly rumpled, perpetually tired, but with sharp, intelligent eyes. Those eyes landed on her, and something flickered across his face. Recognition, suspicion, it was gone too quickly to identify. "Miss Roth, come in." The studio was small but well organized. One wall held shelves of music books and sheet music. Another displayed framed photographs Samuel with various orchestras, Samuel teaching a classroom of children. A beautiful upright piano sat in one corner. Music stands clustered near the window. And in the center of the room, mounted on the wall, was a photograph of an orchestra. Diana recognized it immediately, the Portland Symphony mid-performance. "You played with them?" she asked. "Second violin, for 15 years. Samuel gestured to the chairs. "Please sit." Maya and Diana sat. Samuel remained standing, hands clasped behind his back, studying them. "Ms. Patterson from the district mentioned your daughter needs lessons," he said. "But you also mentioned learning yourself. That's an unusual request." "We have an unusual situation," Diana said. "I'm listening." Diana glanced at Maya. She nodded slightly. "My daughter has otosclerosis," Diana said. "Progressive hearing loss. She has approximately 6 months before she's profoundly deaf." Samuel's expression softened immediately. "I'm very sorry to hear that. We want to learn violin together, so that even after she can't hear anymore, she'll remember. She'll remember what music sounds like, what my playing sounds like." Samuel studied Maya for a long moment. "That's beautiful and heartbreaking." "Yeah," Maya said quietly. "That's pretty much how it feels." He turned back to Diana. "And you studied at Curtis. That's impressive. Why did you stop playing?" "Personal reasons." "For 17 years? Yes." Samuel walked to the window, hands still clasped. "Curtis is a small program. I have friends who studied there, colleagues who taught there. When you mentioned your name and the years you attended, it rang a bell." Diana's stomach dropped. He turned to face her. "I did some research last night. Diana Roth, violin. Accepted to Curtis at 18. Studied under Margot Brennan. And then disappeared. Withdrew from the program in your second year. No explanation. No forwarding information." "You researched me." Her voice came out sharper than intended. I research all potential students. It's important to understand their background. He paused. You were at Curtis when Leah Brenner died. The name hung in the air like smoke. Maya looked at her mother, confused. Who? A student, Diana said, not taking her eyes off Samuel. There was a tragedy. She committed suicide. Leah was very talented, Samuel said quietly. His voice was steady, but something flickered behind his eyes. I knew her. The world tilted. What? She was my student before Curtis. I taught her from ages 10 to 17. Wrote her recommendation letter. I was so proud when she got in. His voice remained calm, but his hands had tightened behind his back. And then 2 years later, I got a phone call saying she was dead. Diana couldn't breathe. Samuel stepped closer. The investigation was minimal. Curtis wanted to keep it quiet, but I spoke to other students afterward. People who knew Leah. They said she'd been struggling, that there was a conductor, someone who'd been pushing her too hard. He looked at Diana directly. His name was Julian Cross, and they said Leah had tried to tell people that she'd confided in some of the other students. The air felt too thick. I don't know what happened in those rooms, Samuel continued. I don't know what Leah experienced, but when you called yesterday saying you'd studied at Curtis during those exact years, I had to check. I had to know if you were that Diana Roth. Maya's hand found Diana's. Mom, Diana couldn't speak. Samuel sat down across from them. When he spoke again, some of the hardness had left his voice. I need to understand who I'm teaching. I need to know if you were there, if you saw something, if you could have helped her. That's not fair, Diana whispered. Isn't it? You don't know what happened. You don't know what Her voice cracked. You're right. I don't know. That's why I wanted to meet you, to understand. He glanced at Maya, then back at Diana. But I need to know what happened before I can teach you. Diana stood up, violin case in hand. This was a mistake. Come on, Maya. Miss Roth, wait. No. She turned to face him, and 17 years of buried grief came roaring up. You want to know what happened? Fine. I was 19. I was in love with Julian Cross. I didn't know what he was doing to Leah. I didn't know he was destroying her. And when I finally understood, I was too scared and too stupid to do anything about it. I walked away. I convinced myself it wasn't my business. Tears ran down her face. She didn't wipe them away. And 2 weeks later, she was dead. I've lived with that guilt every single day for 17 years. I gave up music because I didn't deserve it anymore. So if you want to hate me, go ahead. I hate myself enough for both of us. She grabbed Maya's hand and headed for the door. Ms. Roth! She stopped but didn't turn around. Samuel's voice was quiet. I don't hate you. I'm angry, yes. I'm sad. But I don't hate you. Then what do you want from me? I want to teach you. Both of you. She turned slowly. Why? He stood walking over to the photograph of the Portland Symphony on the wall. He touched it gently. Because Leah loved music more than anything. And if there's a chance, even a small chance, that helping you and your daughter honor music might be, I don't know, a way to honor her memory, then I want to try. His eyes met hers. And because you clearly carry enough guilt already, punishing you more won't bring her back. Diana couldn't speak. Samuel pulled out a chair. Sit down. Let me hear you play. Let's see if those 17 years can be undone. Maya looked at Diana, uncertain. Diana was shaking. Slowly she sat down, opened the case, lifted the Guarneri out with trembling hands. That's a beautiful instrument, Samuel said, surprised. Where did you? I'd rather not discuss it. He studied her for a moment, then nodded. All right, let's start simple. Do you remember any scales? Maybe. Try G major. Diana positioned the violin under her chin. The weight felt wrong. The angle felt wrong. Her fingers found the strings but didn't remember where to press. She tried to play the scale. The sound that came out was atrocious. Squeaky, out of tune. Her fingers fumbled. Her bow hand shook. Maya winced. Diana stopped, humiliated. I told you. I can't anymore. Samuel nodded slowly. You're right. You can't. Not yet. Not ever. Not with that attitude. He stood and walked over to her. Your posture is terrible. Your bow hold is wrong. Your fingers are weak from disuse, but the foundation is still there. I can see it. You're being kind. I'm being honest. He adjusted her elbow gently. 17 years is a long time, but muscle memory doesn't completely disappear. It's buried. We just have to excavate it. In 6 months, Diana gestured to Maya. That's all we have. Samuel looked at her daughter. Then we'd better start now. Over the next 2 weeks, Samuel became a fixture in their lives. He came to their apartment 3 times a week after school. They cleared space in the small living room, pushing furniture aside to make room for practice. Samuel brought a second violin for Maya, nothing as valuable as Diana's Guarneri, but still a decent student instrument. Maya took to it immediately. Her fingers were young and flexible. Her ear was still sharp enough to catch intonation. She absorbed techniques like a sponge. Diana struggled. Her fingers were stiff. Her calluses had disappeared. Every practice session left her hands aching and occasionally bleeding. But she kept going because every time she wanted to quit, she'd look at Maya adjusting her hearing aids and remember 6 months. Maybe less. Samuel was patient. More patient than Diana deserved. He never mentioned Leah again, but sometimes Diana would catch him watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Sadness, curiosity, something else. One evening, 3 weeks into lessons, Samuel had them play a simple duet, a beginner's arrangement of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Humiliating for someone who'd once played at Curtis, but that's where Diana was now. Maya and Diana played together terribly, but they got through it. When they finished, Samuel smiled. Better, you're beginning to remember. Maya grinned. Despite everything, despite the hearing aids, despite the ticking clock, she was happy. Music gave her something to focus on besides her inevitable silence. Next week, Samuel said, packing up his bag. We'll start working on something more challenging. I think you're ready. After he left, Maya practiced for another hour. Diana watched her from the kitchen while making dinner, her small hands moving over the strings, her face scrunched in concentration. She looked so much like Diana at that age. Diana wondered if music would break her the way it had broken her mother. One evening, Maya came home from school upset. She took out her hearing aids, a sign she was really distressed. Signed, I'm scared, Mom. I know, sweetheart. What if I forget? What if I forget what things sound like? What if I forget your voice? The fear Diana had been trying to protect her from. That's why we're doing this, Diana signed back. The violin, the recordings, so you'll have something to hold on to. But what if it's not enough? Diana pulled her close, felt her body shake with sobs. I don't know what it will be like, Diana signed when Maya pulled away. But I know you're strong, stronger than you think, stronger than I am. You're strong too, Mom. You're learning violin again after all those years. You're being brave even though you're scared. That's strong. Diana looked at her 12-year-old daughter, already wiser than she'd ever been. We'll get through this together, Diana signed. Both of us. Later that night, after Maya fell asleep, Diana sat alone with the violin. She thought about Samuel's expression when he watched her play, thought about Leah, thought about Julian. She pulled out her laptop and did something she'd avoided for 17 years. She Googled Julian Cross. The results loaded slowly, then all at once. Julian Cross conductor. Not in Philadelphia, not in New York, where she'd assumed he'd gone. Portland Symphony Orchestra. No. She clicked through to the symphony's website. There on the About page was Julian's photograph. Older now, graying at the temples, but unmistakably him. The same dark eyes. The same slight smile that never quite reached those eyes. Maestro Cross joined the Portland Symphony as music director 6 months ago, bringing with him an illustrious career spanning multiple continents. Diana slammed the laptop shut. He was here, in Portland, in her city. The city where she'd run to escape him. Her phone buzzed. A text from Samuel. I forgot to mention the Portland Symphony is holding auditions for first chair violin next month. You should consider it. Diana stared at the text. Portland Symphony. Julian's orchestra. She typed back with shaking hands. Who's the music director? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally, Julian Cross. Do you know him? Diana turned off her phone and sat in the darkness, listening to her heart hammer against her ribs. After 17 years, the past had finally found her, and it was conducting an orchestra. Diana didn't sleep that night. Instead, she sat on this couch, laptop open, reading everything she could find about Julian Cross. He'd built quite a career since Philadelphia. Guest conductor positions in Europe, a 3-year stint with an orchestra in Seattle, awards, accolades, glowing reviews that praised his passionate conducting style and intense dedication to perfection. Not a single mention of Leah Brenner. Not a single mention of Curtis Institute asking him to leave. She found a recent interview from Portland Monthly Magazine. Julian smiled from the glossy page. "Portland represents a fresh start," he told the interviewer. "A chance to build something extraordinary with musicians who share my commitment to excellence. I don't tolerate mediocrity. Art demands sacrifice." Art demands sacrifice. The same words he'd used 17 years ago. Her phone lit up with another text from Samuel. "Are you all right? You didn't respond about the audition." Diana typed, "I can't audition for Portland Symphony." "Why not? Julian Cross is the reason I stopped playing." The response came immediately. "Then maybe it's time to start again, despite him, or because of him." Diana stared at the text. Could she walk into that concert hall? Could she face Julian after 17 years? She thought about Maya, about 6 months of hearing left, about the chance to fill her daughter's memory with something beautiful before silence came. She thought about Leah, about the door she hadn't opened, about 17 years of running. Maybe Samuel was right. Maybe it was time to stop running. She typed back, "Tell me more about the audition." The next afternoon, Samuel laid out the details. "The audition is December 18th, 4 weeks away. It's blind, you'll play behind a screen. They won't see you, won't know your name until after decisions are made. But Julian will know eventually. He's one voice on the committee, not the only one." Samuel leaned forward. "Diana, you were good enough for Curtis. With 4 weeks of intensive training, you could be competitive. I can barely play scales." "You could barely play scales 3 weeks ago. You're improving faster than you think." "Samuel, I can't or won't." His voice wasn't harsh, just matter of fact. "You've been saying I can't for 17 years. Maybe it's time to try, I will." Diana looked at Maya, who'd been quiet through the whole conversation. "What do you think, sweetheart?" Maya's answer was immediate. "I think you should do it. Even if I fail. Even if you fail, because at least you'll have tried, and I'll get to hear you play something amazing before—" She trailed off. "Before the silence comes." Diana looked at Samuel, at Maya, at the violin sitting in its case, at 17 years of running finally catching up to her. "Okay," she said. "I'll do it." Samuel smiled. "Then we have a lot of work to do." The training began the next morning. Diana called in sick to work. Then she called in sick the next day, and the next. She used vacation days, sick days, every spare hour she could scrape together. She dropped Maya at school and went straight to Samuel's studio. Practiced until her fingers bled, then bandaged them and practiced more. Samuel was relentless. "Again, your intonation is flat. Again, your vibrato is too wide. Again, you're rushing the tempo. Again, again, again." The violin felt like an instrument of torture. But slowly, painfully slowly, Diana began to remember. By the end of the first week, she could play scales without major errors. By the end of the second week, she'd started on the audition repertoire Bach's Chaconne from Partita No. 2 and Brahms' Violin Concerto Third Movement. Both pieces were brutally difficult. The Bach was 15 minutes of solo violin, one of the most technically demanding pieces in the repertoire. Diana hadn't played it since Curtis. The Brahms was nearly as challenging, requiring both technical precision and emotional depth. "You're not ready for these," Samuel said during their second week. "But you will be." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I've seen what you can do when you stop being afraid." Diana wasn't sure she believed him, but she kept practicing. Maya had started joining their afternoon sessions. She'd finish her homework in the corner while Diana practiced occasionally playing along. Sometimes Samuel would have them play duets, mother and daughter, struggling through pieces together. Those were the best moments. Maya's face would light up concentration, giving way to joy. But Diana could see the changes in her daughter. The way she tilted her head to hear better. The way she asked people to repeat themselves. The way she turned up her hearing aids incrementally each week. Time was running out. One evening during their third week of training, Maya said something that stopped Diana cold. "Mom, I've been thinking about the audition." "What about it?" "You haven't told me much about this Julian person, the conductor, but I can tell you're scared of him." Diana set down her violin. "I'm not scared." "You are. I can see it." Maya's voice was gentle but firm. Who is he? What did he do? Diana looked at her 12-year-old daughter. How much should she tell her? How much could she understand? He was someone I trusted, Diana said finally. Someone I thought I loved. And he hurt people. Hurt me. Made me give up something I cared about. Music. Music and myself. Maya was quiet for a moment. Are you doing this audition to beat him? I don't know. Maybe. Partly. That's okay, you know. To want to prove him wrong. Maya adjusted her hearing aids. I think about that sometimes. About proving wrong all the people who feel sorry for me because I'm going deaf. I want to show them I'm not just a sad girl losing her hearing. I'm still me. Diana pulled her daughter close. You are still you. You'll always be you. Then you're still you too, Mom. Not just what he made you feel. Out of the mouths of children. E-sax. The breakthrough came during their 4th week of training. Diana was working on the Bach chaconne, the long, devastating solo that builds from simple theme to cascading variations. She was halfway through when something shifted. She stopped hearing herself from outside, stopped thinking about technique, about finger positions, about whether she was good enough. She just played. The music poured out raw and imperfect and real. 17 years of silence. Guilt about Leah. Fear about Maya. Anger at Julian. Love for her daughter. All of it flowing through the strings. When she finished, she opened her eyes. Samuel was staring at her. What, Diana said. That, Samuel said quietly, is who you were meant to be. For the first time in 4 weeks, Diana felt something like hope. Maybe she could do this. Maybe she was good enough. Maybe. There's something I need to tell you, Samuel said. His voice had changed. Gone harder. The hope flickered out. What? Samuel walked to his desk, pulled out his phone, turned it to face her. On the screen was an email thread. The subject line read, Leah Brenner, Curtis Institute 2008. I reached out to some former students, Samuel said. People who were at Curtis when Leah died. I wanted to understand what really happened. Diana's stomach dropped. Samuel, one of them responded. Amanda Chen. She was Leah's roommate. He scrolled through the email. She told me something interesting. He looked at Diana directly. She said that the night Leah died, Leah tried to get help. Tried to reach out to someone. She went to another student's room. Someone she thought would understand. Diana couldn't breathe. She went to you, Diana. The night she died, she knocked on your door. No? Amanda heard it. She was in the hallway. She saw Leah go to your room. Saw her knock. Samuel's voice was steady but sharp. And she heard you tell Leah to go away, that you couldn't deal with her drama. The words hit like physical blows. That's not I don't remember. You don't remember, or you don't want to remember. I would never. Wouldn't you? Samuel's voice rose slightly. You were Julian's girlfriend. You were protecting him, and when Leah came to you for help, you turned her away. Stop! 6 hours later, she was dead. Diana couldn't speak, couldn't think. The room spun. But even as Samuel spoke, something flickered at the edge of her memory. A knock, late at night. Julian was there, wasn't he? They'd been fighting about something. He'd been angry. And someone knocked. And Julian had said, don't answer it. It's just Leah being dramatic. She'll go away. And Diana had listened. Because she was scared of Julian's anger. Because she didn't want to make things worse. Because she was 19 and stupid and so wrong. Oh, God, Diana whispered. Oh, God, he was there. Julian was in my room and he told me not to answer. And I didn't. Samuel stared at her. But I didn't know what it was about. I thought she was just Diana was spiraling. If I'd known she was in crisis, if I'd known, would you have opened the door? Samuel's question was quiet, but devastating. With Julian standing right there, would you have defied him? Would she have? Diana wanted to say yes, wanted to believe she would have. But she didn't know. And that not knowing was its own kind of damnation. I think, Samuel said quietly, you should leave. Samuel, please. I can't do this. Thought I could. I thought I could separate Leah's death from teaching you. But I can't. He walked to the door and opened it. The audition is in 2 weeks. You're on your own. Citas. Diana drove home in a daze, parked in front of her apartment building, sat in the car as rain hammered the windshield. Samuel was right. She had turned Leah away. Maybe she hadn't known Leah was in crisis. Maybe she'd been manipulated. Maybe she'd been young and scared. But she'd still made the choice, and Leah had died. She pulled out her phone, stared at the Portland Symphony audition confirmation email. What was she doing? What was she thinking? She couldn't walk into that concert hall. Couldn't face Julian. couldn't pretend she deserved to play music again. Leah never got a second chance. Why should she? She was about to delete the email when a text came through from Maya. "Mom, where are you? Are you okay?" Diana closed her eyes. Whatever she'd done, whatever she deserved, Maya still needed her. She went inside. Next. That evening, Diana sat on the couch staring at nothing. Maya came out of her room, saw her mother's face, and immediately signed. "What happened?" Diana told her. Everything. About the night Leah died. About Julian being in the room. About not opening the door. When she finished, Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she signed, "That's why you stopped playing." "Yes, because you blamed yourself." "I should blame myself. If I'd opened that door." "Mom." Maya's hands moved firmly. "You were 19, and there was an abusive man in your room telling you what to do. You were a victim too. But Leah died because of him, not because of you." Maya's eyes were fierce. "And now you have a chance to do something about it, to not let him win. The audition is in 2 weeks and I don't have a teacher anymore. So practice alone. You know what to do." "Maya." "Mom, I'm going to be deaf in 4 months, maybe less. And I'm not giving up. I'm learning sign language. I'm adapting. I'm fighting." She moved closer. "You taught me to be brave. Now you have to be brave too." Diana looked at her daughter, this fierce, strong, impossible child, and felt something crack open in her chest. "You're right," she whispered. "I know I am." Maya almost smiled. "Now get back to practicing. You have work to do." For the next 12 days, Diana practiced alone, 8 hours a day, sometimes 10. Her hands cramped. Her fingers bled through the bandages. Her right wrist began to swell with tendinitis. But she kept going. She played the Bach chaconne until she could do it in her sleep. She played the Brahms until the notes were carved into her muscle memory. She played until the pain became just another part of the music. On the 10th day, she developed a sharp stabbing sensation in her right wrist. Could barely hold the bow. She iced it, took anti-inflammatories, kept playing. On the 11th day, she could barely lift the violin. She forced herself to rest. One day, just one. On the 12th day, 2 days before the audition, there was a knock on her door. Samuel stood in the hallway, violin case in hand. "You look terrible," he said. "Thanks. May I come in?" Diana stepped aside. He walked into the apartment, took one look at her bandaged hands and swollen wrist, and shook his head. "You're going to permanently damage yourself." "I don't care." "You should." He set down his case. "I've been thinking about what I said, what I accused you of. You were right to say it. Maybe, but I was also wrong." He pulled a folder from his bag. "I found something, online, posted 3 years ago on a music forum." He handed her a printed document. It was Leah's journal, the final entries, scanned and uploaded by someone anonymous, probably Amanda. Diana's hands shook as she read. The entries detailed everything: Julian's abuse, Leah's pain, her attempts to get help, and then the final entry dated the night she died. "I went to Diana's room tonight. I was going to tell her everything, beg her to help me. But when I knocked, I heard Mr. Cross inside. He said, 'Don't answer it. It's just Leah being dramatic.' And Diana didn't answer. She chose him over me. But I don't blame her. I know she's scared too. He controls her the same way he controls me. I just wish someone had been brave enough to stand up to him. Maybe then things would be different. I'm so tired. I tried to tell people, but nobody listens. Mr. Cross told me today I'm pathetic, that I'll never be good enough, that I should save everyone the embarrassment and quit. Maybe he's right. Diana, if you're reading this somehow, I don't blame you. I know you were scared too. I just wish someone had been brave." Diana's vision blurred with tears. "She didn't blame you," Samuel said quietly. She understood. "But I should have been brave. I should have." "You were 19 and trapped in an abusive relationship. You couldn't save her because you couldn't save yourself." He sat down beside her. "I'm sorry I blamed you. I was angry at Julian and I took it out on you. That wasn't fair. You had every right to be angry. Maybe, but anger doesn't bring Leah back, and it doesn't honor her memory." He gestured to the journal entry. "You know what would honor her memory, doing what she asked, being brave, standing up to Julian." Diana looked at the audition date circled on her calendar. "I don't know if I can." "You can, and you will," Samuel stood. "But not alone. I'm coming to the audition with you. I'll play piano for the Brahms." "Samuel, no arguments. We do this together." He picked up his violin. "Now show me your Bach. Let's see what you've learned in 12 days alone." Diana lifted her violin with shaking, damaged hands, and she played. It was. The final 2 days before the audition passed in a blur. Samuel came every morning and evening. They worked on interpretation, on dynamics, on making the music breathe. He brought ice for her wrist, showed her how to tape her fingers to protect the raw skin. "You're pushing too hard," he said on the morning of December 17th, the day before the audition. "I have to be perfect." "No, you have to be honest. That's what Leah wrote. Music isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest." He closed his music. The committee doesn't want perfection. They want truth, emotion, connection. Give them that. What if I freeze? What if I see Julian and I can't play? Then you remember why you're there. Not for him, not even for the job. You're there for Maya, for Leah, for yourself. You're there to reclaim your voice. That night, Diana couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, imagining tomorrow. Imagining walking into that concert hall. Imagining Julian's voice calling her name. Around 2 a.m., she got up and went to the living room. Maya was there sitting on the couch with her phone. "Can't sleep either," Diana signed. "No, too nervous for you." Maya patted the couch beside her. "Sit." Diana sat. Maya showed her the phone screen. It was a video, a recording Maya had made of Diana practicing earlier that week. "I've been watching this," Maya signed, "over and over, so I can memorize exactly how you sound, how you look when you play, the way your face changes with the music. Maya, when I'm deaf, this is what I want to remember. Not you being scared, not you running away. I want to remember you being brave. Tomorrow, you're going to be so brave, Mom." Diana pulled her daughter close, both of them crying silently in the darkness. EAD. December 18th arrived gray and cold. Diana dressed carefully. Black dress pants, white blouse. Professional, but not flashy. The audition was blind. She'd play behind a screen, so appearance shouldn't matter. But she needed the armor anyway. Maya insisted on coming. "You don't have to," Diana said. The audition could take hours. "I want to be there. I want to hear you play." They drove to the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall in downtown Portland. The building was beautiful historic theater restored to elegant glory. Diana had never been inside. The stage door entrance led to a warren of backstage corridors. A volunteer checked her name off a list. "You're in the 3rd group. Warm-up rooms are down the hall. You'll be called when it's time." Maya and Diana found the warm-up room, small soundproofed with a piano and mirror. 3 other violinists were already there doing scales and stretches. Diana took out her Guarneri. The other musicians glanced at it, then away, trying not to stare. "That's a Guarneri," one woman whispered to her neighbor. "Who is she?" Diana ignored them and began tuning. An hour passed, then another. Violinists were called one by one. Finally, Diana Roth. Diana stood. Her hands were shaking. Maya grabbed her hand. "You've got this, Mom." "I don't know if I do." "You do. I heard you practice. You're amazing." Diana hugged her tight. "I love you so much." "Love you too. Now go show them who you are." Jesus. Diana followed the volunteer down a corridor and through a door marked stage entrance. The stage was enormous. Empty chairs arranged for full orchestra. And in the center, facing the house, a black screen on wheels. Behind the screen was a single chair and music stand. "You'll play behind the screen," the volunteer explained. "The committee is in the house. They can hear you but not see you. When you're done, exit stage left. Don't speak, just play and leave." "Understood." The volunteer left. Diana walked behind the screen, sat down, arranged her music. From beyond the screen, she heard voices, the committee taking their seats. And then cutting through the others, a voice she hadn't heard speak directly to her in 17 years. Julian's voice. "Let's begin. Candidate number 12, whenever you're ready." He didn't say her name. Blind auditions meant he shouldn't know who was playing. But Diana knew he knew. He'd seen the registration list. He knew she was here, and he was going to enjoy this. She lifted her violin, positioned the bow. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the instrument. Behind the screen, invisible to her, the committee waited. She took a breath, thought about Maya in the warm-up room, about Leah's journal, about 17 years of silence, about being brave, and she began to play. Easy. The Bach chaconne started simply, a single melodic line, austere and beautiful. Diana's fingers found the notes, muscle memory taking over. The piece built slowly, variations layering on top of the theme. Simple became complex. Austere became elaborate. She stopped thinking, stopped worrying about the committee, about Julian, about whether she was good enough. She just played. The music poured out, not perfect, not flawless, but real. Every note carried weight. 17 years of silence. Guilt, fear, love, grief. All of it channeled through wood and strings. The chaconne climbed toward its climax. Cascading arpeggios, double stops. The violin singing multiple voices at once. Her damaged wrist screamed in pain. She played through it. Her fingers bled through the bandages. She played through it. And then the final variation. A return to simplicity. The original theme now transformed by everything that came before. She played the last notes gently, let them fade into silence. For a moment, nothing. Then from beyond the screen, "Thank you. Please proceed to the Brahms." Julian's voice, flat, giving nothing away. Diana adjusted her music. The Brahms Violin Concerto Third Movement. "The pianist is joining you now," Julian called. She heard footsteps. Someone slipped behind the screen with her. Samuel. He didn't look at her, just sat at the piano, arranged his music. He'd come. "Whenever you're ready." Julian's voice came again. Samuel's hands touched the piano keys, played the opening measures. Diana came in on cue. The Brahms flowed between them, violin and piano interweaving. Samuel's playing was beautiful, supportive, lifting her violin line. They'd practiced this piece together dozens of times. He knew exactly where she'd need support, where she'd need space. The movement raced toward its conclusion. Faster, more urgent. The violin climbing higher and higher until it reached the final triumphant chord. They finished together. Perfect unison. Silence. Then, "Thank you. That will be all." Julian's voice was tight now, less controlled. Samuel stood, touched Diana's shoulder briefly, the only acknowledgement he'd give, and left. Diana packed her violin with trembling hands, walked off stage left as instructed. Maya was waiting at the hallway. "How did it go?" "I don't know." "You sounded amazing. I could hear it through the walls." Diana wanted to believe her. They were told results would be announced in 1 week. Diana and Maya drove home in silence. When they got to the apartment, Diana collapsed on the couch. "I did it," she said. "I actually did it." "You did?" Maya sat beside her. "Are you glad?" "I don't know yet. Ask me when I get the results." "Even if you don't get it, Mom, you did the brave thing. Leah would be proud." Diana looked at her daughter. "How did you get so wise?" "I learned from you." That evening, Samuel texted, "You played beautifully. Be proud." Diana wrote back, "Thank you for coming. Thank you for playing with me. I'm sorry I doubted you. You were brave today. Braver than I've ever been." Diana set down her phone and cried. Not from sadness, not from fear, from relief. She'd done it. She'd faced Julian, or at least his voice, and she hadn't run away. Whatever happened next, she'd been brave, and that had to count for something. 5 days after the audition on December 23rd, Diana got an email. Subject: Portland Symphony Orchestra. Audition results. Her hand shook as she opened it. "Dear Ms. Roth, thank you for your participation in the first chair violin audition. The committee has reviewed all candidates carefully. We appreciate your time and talent. However, we have decided to move forward with other candidates whose skills more closely align with our current needs. We wish you the best in your musical endeavors. Sincerely, Portland Symphony Orchestra Audition Committee." Diana stared at the screen. She hadn't gotten it. After everything. After 4 weeks of intensive training. After bleeding fingers and damaged wrists and facing her worst fear. She'd been rejected. Of course she had. Maya found her sitting at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. "Mom." Diana showed her the email. Maya's face fell. "I'm sorry." "It's okay." "No, it's not. You worked so hard." "I did my best. That's all I could do." But inside, Diana felt hollow. All that work. All that hope. For nothing. That evening, Samuel called. "I heard," he said. "I'm sorry." "It's fine." "It's not fine. You should have gotten it. You were the best candidate." Apparently, the committee disagreed. The committee didn't disagree. Julian did. Diana went still. "What?" "I talked to one of the other judges. Marcus Chen, the pianist who worked with you during training. He's on the committee." Samuel's voice was tight with anger. "He said the vote was split. Most of the committee wanted you. Your playing was exceptional. But Julian vetoed it. As music director, he has final say. He blocked me." Yes, of course he did. Julian wasn't going to let her into his orchestra. Wasn't going to give her the satisfaction. 17 years later, and he was still controlling her life. "Diana, there's something else," Samuel said. "What?" "Marcus told me Julian said something during the deliberation, after they revealed your name. He said, and I quote, 'Diana Roth doesn't have the temperament for professional orchestra work. I knew her years ago. She's unreliable.'" Diana's hands clenched. "He said that." "Yes." He used your past relationship to sabotage you. Marcus said several committee members were uncomfortable with it, but Julian pulled rank. So what do I do? There's nothing I can do. Actually, Samuel said slowly, there might be. What do you mean? Diana asked. Samuel was quiet for a moment. I've been doing research, talking to former students. Julian has a pattern, Diana. Curtis wasn't the only school. He's been asked to leave 3 other institutions over the years, always for the same reason, abusive behavior. But it's always handled quietly. No formal charges. Just asked to resign and move on. How is that possible? Because classical music is a small world, and institutions care more about reputation than justice. He paused. I want to go public. Write an article. Detail Julian's history. Include testimony from his victims with their permission. Make it impossible for him to hide anymore. Diana's stomach twisted. Samuel, I'm not asking you to be the face of it. Just to add your voice. To say that you were there when Leah died. That you witnessed his behavior. That he's still using his power to hurt people, like blocking you from this position out of spite. And if we publish this, what happens? I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe people don't care. Or maybe Julian is finally held accountable. Maybe other victims come forward. Maybe something changes. Diana thought about Leah's journal entry. I just wish someone had been brave. Okay, she said. I'll do it. Are you sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. Over the next 3 weeks, Samuel and Diana worked with a journalist from the Portland Mercury, a local alternative newspaper. Her name was Rachel Kim, no relation to Samuel. She was young, maybe 30, with sharp eyes and a recorder that she kept running through every interview. Rachel interviewed Diana for hours, asked her to describe Julian's behavior at Curtis, to talk about Leah, to explain why she'd stayed silent for 17 years. I was 19, Diana said during one session. In love, scared, and he was so good at making you think everything was your fault, that if you just tried harder, worked harder, loved him better, then everything would be okay. Classic abuser dynamic, Rachel said, making notes. I know that now, but then... Diana trailed off. Then I thought it was just what artists did, suffered for their craft. Rachel also interviewed 4 other women former students of Julian's from various institutions. Their stories were remarkably similar. Psychological abuse, gaslighting, isolation. Being told they weren't good enough would never be good enough unless they did exactly what Julian said. One woman, Sarah Martinez, had been a cellist at the Seattle Orchestra where Julian had worked 3 years ago. He told me I was the problem, Sarah said during her interview. That my intonation was always off. That I dragged down the entire section. I started having panic attacks before rehearsals. Eventually I quit music entirely, just stopped playing. Do you play now? Rachel asked. I'm trying to. It's hard. But reading about what happened to Leah Brenner, it made me realize I wasn't crazy. It wasn't me. It was him. The article took shape slowly. Rachel was thorough, checking every fact, reaching out to institutions for comment. Most declined to speak on the record. Curtis Institute sent a terse statement. We take all allegations seriously, but cannot comment on personnel matters from 17 years ago. The Portland Symphony initially didn't respond. Then, 3 days before publication, their PR director called Rachel. We're aware of these allegations, the director said. Maestro Cross has our full confidence. These appear to be disgruntled former students attempting to damage his reputation. Rachel included the statement in the article. On January 25th, 3 days before publication, Diana got a phone call. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello? Diana. Julian's voice. After hearing it only through a screen at the audition, hearing him say her name directly made her skin crawl. How did you get my number? It wasn't hard. His voice was smooth, controlled. I'm calling because I heard an interesting rumor, that you're planning to publish lies about me in some tabloid newspaper. They're not lies. Aren't they a vindictive ex-student with a grudge? A mediocre violinist who couldn't make it professionally? Trying to tear down someone successful out of jealousy? That's not what's happening. Oh, then what is happening, Diana? The truth is coming out about what you did to Leah, about what you've done to other students, about how you're still doing it. He laughed, cold. Leah was unstable. Everyone knew it. Her death was tragic, but it wasn't my fault. You destroyed her. I taught her. She couldn't handle the pressure. That's not on me. His voice hardened. And you got pregnant. You chose to keep it. You ruined your own career. Don't blame me for your failures. You tried to ruin my audition, Marcus told Samuel what you said in the committee meeting. Silence. Then I simply provided relevant information about a candidate. That's my job as music director. You sabotaged me out of spite. I protected my orchestra from someone with a history of poor judgment. His voice dropped, became softer, more dangerous. Diana, think about what you're doing. Think about your daughter. Maya Wright, 12 years old, going deaf. Diana's blood went cold. Don't you dare. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm simply saying that going public with false accusations will have consequences. Legal consequences. I have lawyers. Very good lawyers. They'll sue you for defamation. They'll sue the newspaper. They'll drag you through courts for years. Can you afford that? Can Maya afford that? And you can't silence me with threats. I'm not threatening. I'm warning, as a courtesy. His voice took on a tone of false concern. Because despite everything, Diana, I did care about you once. I don't want to see you destroy yourself over some misguided sense of justice. Leah deserves justice. Leah is dead. Justice won't bring her back. No, but maybe it will prevent you from hurting someone else. He was quiet for a long moment. You really are going through with this? Yes. Then you're a fool, and you'll regret it. The line went dead. Diana sat holding the phone, shaking. Maya walked into the room, signing, "Who was that?" Julian. What did he say? Diana told her. Everything. The threats, the lawyers, the implication that this would hurt their lives. When she finished, Maya's expression was fierce. He's trying to scare you. That's what bullies do when they're losing. What if he's right? What if we can't afford a lawsuit? Then we can't afford it. But Mom, you said it yourself, Leah deserves justice. And those other women deserve to be heard. You can't back down now just because he's threatening you. Diana looked at her daughter. 12 years old, going deaf, braver than anyone Diana had ever known. You're right, Diana said. I can't back down. Good, Maya signed emphatically. Now call that journalist back and tell her to publish it. EP. The article published on January 28th. The headline, The Conductor and the Silenced Julian Cross's Pattern of Abuse in Classical Music. It was devastating. Thorough. Rachel Kim had done exceptional work. She detailed Leah's story, Diana's testimony, the 4 other women's testimonies, Julian's history of being asked to resign from institutions, the music world's complicity in silence. She included the statement from Curtis Institute, the statement from Portland Symphony defending Julian, and she included Diana's account of the audition, how Julian had vetoed her despite the committee's support, using their past relationship as justification. Within hours, it was everywhere. Social media exploded. Music forums, Reddit threads, Twitter debates. Half the comments were supportive. Finally, someone speaking up. Believe survivors. Julian Cross should never conduct again. The other half were vicious witch hunt. Innocent until proven guilty. She's just bitter she failed as a musician. Why did she wait 17 years? Diana stayed off social media, didn't read the comments, tried to focus on Maya. But the calls came anyway. Other journalists wanting interviews, TV producers wanting her to appear on shows, former Curtis students reaching out, some supportive, some angry. One email came from someone claiming to be Leah's younger sister. Thank you for finally speaking up. My family never got justice. The school covered it up. Julian moved on. Everyone forgot. But I never forgot. Leah deserved better. Thank you for trying to give her that. Diana cried reading it. Julian released a statement through his lawyers. These accusations are false and defamatory. Mr. Cross has devoted his life to music education and will vigorously defend his reputation. Legal action is being considered against all parties involved. The Portland Symphony issued a statement. We take all allegations seriously and are conducting an internal review. Samuel called, "You did the right thing." Did I? What if nothing changes? What if he just sues me and I lose everything? Then at least you tried. At least you spoke. See. 1 week after the article published, Diana got an unexpected visitor. A woman in her late 20s, professionally dressed, carrying a briefcase. Ms. Roth, my name is Amanda Chen. I was Leah Brenner's roommate. The woman from Samuel's email. The one who'd seen Leah go to Diana's door. I know who you are, Diana said. May I come in? Diana led her to the living room, made tea, sat across from her, nervous. I read the article, Amanda said. Your testimony. And I need to tell you something. Okay. I felt guilty for 17 years. I saw Leah struggling. I knew she was hurting. But I didn't do enough to help her. I told myself it wasn't my business. Amanda's hands shook slightly around her teacup. The night she died, I heard her at your door. I heard what I thought was you telling her to go away, and I was angry at you. I blamed you. I understand why, but I never told anyone what else I heard. Amanda set down her cup. I was walking back from the library. Your room was at the end of the hall. The walls were thin. I heard Julian's voice before I even saw Leah. He was angry, shouting about something. Diana's heart began to pound. Then I saw Leah approach your door. She knocked, and I heard you say, "Who is it?" And Julian said clear as day, "Don't answer it. It's just Leah being dramatic. She'll go away." Tears ran down Amanda's face. I heard you hesitate. I heard Julian say something else I couldn't make out. And then silence. Leah stood there for another minute crying, then left. Why didn't you tell anyone? Because I was scared. Julian was powerful. And I thought maybe you and Julian were both responsible. I couldn't sort it out, so I said nothing. She pulled a document from her briefcase. But I'm saying it now. I've written a formal statement. Everything I heard. I'm submitting it to Portland Symphony's internal investigation, and I'm submitting it to the police. The police won't do anything. It's been 17 years. Maybe not, but they'll have it on record. And if other victims come forward, and they will, Diana, because of your article, it creates a pattern. She handed Diana a copy of her statement. Thank you, Amanda said, for being brave, for speaking up. It gave me courage to finally do the same. After Amanda left, Diana sat alone reading her statement. Over and over, one line. Julian Cross controlled Diana Roth. He prevented her from helping Leah. Both women were his victims. For 17 years, Diana had carried guilt. But maybe she'd been carrying the wrong guilt. Maybe the guilt belonged to Julian. 2 weeks after the article, the Portland Symphony made an announcement. Following an internal review, music director Julian Cross has resigned effective immediately. The board thanks him for his service and wishes him well in his future endeavors. No admission of wrongdoing, no apology to victims, just a quiet resignation and a polite goodbye. But it was something. Samuel called immediately. Did you see? I saw. He's gone, Diana. You did it. We did it. All of us. Diana felt strangely empty. Not triumphant. Not vindicated. Just tired. What happens now? Samuel asked. I don't know. Live my life. Focus on Maya. She has maybe 3 months of hearing left. And music. I don't know about that either. XX. But 3 days after Julian's resignation, Diana got another email. From Portland Symphony. Subject first chair violin position. Dear Ms. Roth, in light of recent administrative changes, the Portland Symphony Orchestra is reopening the search for first chair violin. Given your exceptional performance in December's audition, we would like to invite you to join our orchestra without requiring an additional audition. The committee recognizes both your musical talent and your courage in speaking out about abuse in our industry. We would be honored to have you join us. Please respond at your earliest convenience. Sincerely, to PSO Board of Directors. Diana stared at the email. They were offering her the position. Without another audition. Just offering it. The thing she'd worked so hard for. The thing Julian had blocked. The thing that represented everything she'd given up 17 years ago. It was hers. She should feel elated, vindicated, triumphant. Instead, she felt conflicted. She called Samuel. They offered me the job. I know. I was consulted in the decision. I told them you were the best candidate. Samuel, I don't know if I can accept. Why not? Maya has 3 months left, maybe less. I can't spend that time at rehearsals and performances. She needs me. Samuel was quiet for a moment. I understand. Do you? Yes. Family first. Always. He paused. But Diana, can I tell you something? What? You've spent 17 years making decisions based on fear. Fear of Julian. Fear of your past. Fear of not being good enough. This is the first time I've heard you make a decision based on love. Based on what matters to you. That's growth. Diana felt tears welling up. I want the position. Part of me really wants it. I know. And maybe someday when Maya is older, when things are different, there will be another opportunity. But right now, you're choosing what's most important. That's not giving up. That's being wise. After she hung up, Diana sat with the decision for a long time. Then she wrote her response. Thank you for this incredible offer. However, I must respectfully decline. My daughter needs me right now, and she comes first. Perhaps in the future, when circumstances change, we can discuss opportunities. But for now, my place is with my family. With deep gratitude, Diana Roth. She hit send and felt for the first time in 17 years completely at peace. Epilogue. 6 months later, the benefit concert for Leah's Legacy Fund was held on a Sunday afternoon in July. The venue was small, a community center in Northeast Portland, but it was packed, maybe 150 people, students, teachers, survivors, advocates. Samuel had started the fund 2 months after Julian's resignation, a scholarship program for music students who'd experienced abuse or needed to leave toxic programs. So far, they'd helped 12 students. The concert featured several performers, each one a survivor, sharing their story through music. When it was Diana and Amaya's turn, Samuel introduced them. Diana Roth gave up music for 17 years, he told the audience. She stayed silent about abuse she witnessed, but 6 months ago she found her voice, and she helped others find theirs too. Please welcome Diana and her daughter Maya. Diana walked onto the small stage. Maya followed, moving to the piano. Maya couldn't hear anymore. 3 months ago, her hearing had faded completely. She lived in silence now. But she could feel vibrations, could watch Diana's bow, could play piano by touch and muscle memory. They'd arranged a simple duet, folk melody, nothing fancy, but it was theirs. Diana lifted her violin, not the Guarneri. She'd anonymously returned that to Curtis last month with a note. I'm sorry, I was young and scared and wrong, but I'm trying to make things right now. She played on a regular violin now, a good one but not priceless. It felt more honest. Maya's hands found the piano keys. They played together. Diana couldn't help crying as she played, watching her daughter, deaf, brave, beautiful, making music she couldn't hear but could feel. The audience couldn't hear Maya's part very well. Her dynamics were uneven without auditory feedback. But it didn't matter, because what they were watching wasn't about perfection. It was about love, about courage, about 2 people refusing to let circumstances define them. When they finished, the audience stood, applauded. Maya couldn't hear it, but she could see it. She stood and bowed, grinning. After the concert, people approached them. Former students of Julian's, other survivors. They thanked Diana for speaking up. One woman older, maybe 50, took Diana's hands. I was one of Julian's students 20 years ago, she said. He destroyed my confidence. I gave up music. But reading your article, it helped me realize it wasn't my fault. I'm playing again now, just for myself. But I'm playing. I'm so glad, Diana said. Thank you for being brave. I wasn't brave. I was terrified. That's what brave is. That evening, Diana and Maya sat in their apartment. Pizza for dinner. A movie with subtitles. Normal life. Before bed, Maya signed, Mom, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you ever regret it? Turning down that orchestra job? Diana thought about it. Sometimes, but then I look at you and I remember why I did it. And no, I don't regret it. I would have understood if you'd taken it. I know, but I didn't want to understand later that I'd missed these months with you. Some opportunities come back. This time with you. This is irreplaceable. Maya leaned against her mother, signed, I'm proud of you. Not just for speaking up about Julian, but for choosing me. For choosing what matters. You matter most. I love you, Mom. I love you too, sweetheart. They sat together in comfortable silence, though only one of them could hear it was silent. Diana taught violin now out of Samuel's studio. Students from ages 6 to 60. Some wanted professional careers. Most just wanted to learn. She was good at it. Patient. Understanding. She knew what it was like to give up music and fight your way back. The Leah's Legacy Fund continued to grow. 23 students helped so far. 3 survivors assisted in leaving abusive programs. Julian was still teaching, Diana had heard. A small school in Vermont. He kept his head down. Sometimes Diana wondered if he'd learned anything, if he'd changed. Probably not. But that wasn't her concern anymore. She'd done what she could, spoken her truth, helped others speak theirs. The rest was up to the world. 1 year after the article published, Diana received a letter, handwritten, forwarded from the Portland Mercury. It was from Julian. She almost threw it away unopened, but curiosity won. Diana, I'm writing from Vermont, where I've accepted a teaching position at a small music academy. Not the career I'd planned, but it's what's available now. I won't apologize. I don't believe I did anything wrong. I pushed students to be great. Sometimes they couldn't handle it. That's unfortunate, but not my responsibility. But I will say this. I underestimated you. I thought you were weak. I thought you'd stay silent forever. I was wrong. You destroyed my career, my reputation, everything I built. I hope you're satisfied. JC. Diana read it twice. Then she tore it up and threw it away. She wasn't satisfied. Satisfaction would have been Leah alive, Maya hearing, the past erased. But she was at peace, and that was enough. Author's note. This story is dedicated to every person who lost their voice and fought to find it again, to survivors of abuse who chose to speak, to artists who gave up their craft and found the courage to return to it, to parents who make impossible choices with love, and to young people facing challenges with impossible bravery. Music isn't just about sound, it's about resilience, connection, the refusal to stay silent. Some secrets destroy you if you keep them. Some silences break you if you don't end them. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is speak even when your voice shakes. May we all find our second chord. If this story moved you, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more true stories about courage, redemption, and second chances. Remember, it's never too late to find your voice.